This is Bad Movies We Love, part of the Scheisse Podcast Network.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bad Movies We Love. I am, of course, your host, Nick Scheisse.
The master of the stupid stuff!
Thank you for being here with me today as we kick off June-Claude Van Damme. And as you probably figured out, we're doing an entire month of exclusively Jean-Claude Van Damme flicks. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And
if you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.
Yes, indeed. And if you're looking for a no-cost, no-obligation, easy-access way to help the Resistance grow, you can do so by leaving a rating and a review on your podcast platform of choice. That way, other people out there might decide to roll the dice on this one. And you can always tell a friend and share it around on social media. That's a really easy way to help. And if you're really interested in supporting the show with a contribution, you can do so at ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/badmovieswelove. But that's enough housekeeping for now, because today I am joined by my friend Ben from the Cinema Shit Show. He is the longest running contributor to this show, and he joined me to get things started with one of Van Damme's best. It's Roland Emmerich's first American feature film. We're talking Universal Soldier. If you like these other kinds of actioners, this is a movie that exists within the same framework of a lot of those other movies.
And he's having a lot of fun. Dolph is clearly having a blast.
He's wearing a necklace made out of human ears.
He takes off his clothes and he's like, look for something hard.
He will show you his specimen.
Assless chaps just walking around. I mean, if we're just talking straight attractiveness or sex appeal, I think he's way more attractive than any of the other big action stars that he was up against.
You thought you were dead? No, back to work you go. This movie is maybe one or two small adjustments away from being a really excellent movie.
He's holding that sandwich in his hand while he takes out two or three guys, and it's just, oh, it's so classic.
That food is good.
Fucking it is. The question is, how are you going to pay for it?
I don't know.
You don't know, ain't that cute? I'm gonna bust your head, punk.
I don't want to hurt you.
Me? You don't hurt Hank?
Ben, thanks for being here, buddy. I'm glad that we get to kick off Jean-Claude Van Damme in style with Universal Soldier, one of his probably better films, I would say.
Yeah, I think this is my second favorite of his third favorite, because if you count JCVD, which I do.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite, and then Bloodsport, and then this, I would say.
Okay, I think that's understandable. I mean, he's got a strangely diverse catalog that also seemingly is kind of all the same. So, no matter which one you choose, for the most part, when he's in his prime, he's going to be throwing kicks. He's going to be doing some form of martial arts. He will be exposing his physique one way or another, as he does in this film as well. And, it's not like the plot is always the same, but he is kind of the same a lot. And then I think sort of towards the end of his career, when he started, well, not the end, but on the downside of his career, where he's not as physically capable as he used to be, he started taking on a little bit more interesting stuff in terms of characters and actually acting work and stuff. And I really liked Jean-Claude Van Johnson, which I think was an Amazon Prime original. So it seems like that kind of came and went really quickly without people paying much attention to it. But it's like, if you like Van Damme, that show is definitely for fans of his.
I haven't even heard of it.
Oh, wow. I think it's maybe like 8-10 episodes, one season. He is like, he's playing himself, but he's also playing like a caricature of himself where he's a secret agent. So
Okay.
it's like, it's a perfect setup for like what you would want out of like a kind of self-aware Van Damme trying to like sort of make a comeback, you know?
Yeah.
But we're here today because we're talking about Universal Soldier. And this was a movie that you hadn't seen until fairly recently. And so it's kind of the inverse of what I do on this show a lot, where somebody brings me a movie that they love that I maybe haven't seen or haven't seen in a long time, and we get into it. And this is the reverse, where this is a movie that I've seen many, many times, was part of my childhood upbringing. And this is something that you just saw like within the last year. And it has a IMDb score of 6.1, which isn't too bad, but its Metascore is 35, which is pretty bad.
Oh.
And
Okay.
its Rotten Tomatoes critic score is 34%, and the audience score is 46%. But then if you look at Letterboxd, it's got a 3.0. So kind of in line with IMDb in that you would think that it seems to have its fans, but also seems to be pretty trampled on critically. So I think it's right in the wheelhouse for, well, A, the kind of movies that I want to do on this show, and B, just a great starting point to kick off a month that's going to be all Jean-Claude movies as we celebrate June-Claude Van Damme. And I know you've done the show before. You did it with Michelle. And of course, you know, you're the longest reigning benefactor of this show. But for maybe people who haven't checked out that episode with Michelle, or maybe haven't heard of your show, you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. My show is called Cinema Shit Show, which you were a part of coming up with the name. And you've been on 2 times, I think.
Sounds
2
right.
times. I think 2 times. We've had so many guests, it's like, it's confusing.
Twice officially.
We it's me and Nix, and we just kind of ramble through old horror movies, a lot of B stuff, exploitation, not a lot of new stuff. I think the newest thing we've done is like Autopsy of Jane Doe. And that wasn't our pick, so actually we haven't really done anything, I don't think, that recent that we've picked. But yeah, we just we're a bunch of goofballs and we have fun, and we usually mess up the timeline of the movie at some point and argue about it. And the podcast is very the name fits the podcast very well, so we just have a lot of fun, and it's I really enjoy it. Nix is great, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. So,
Well, I can attest that the show is a lot of fun. It's probably the only show that I've listened to start to finish where I started at the beginning and I'm actually current on the show, which is like nearly impossible with podcasts to actually like continue to be on top of all the new episodes that are coming out, especially when you listen to more than one. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun listening to your show and sort of seeing you guys have fun, and I get to just feel like I'm in the room with some friends hanging out, talking about some movie that I 99% of the time have not seen.
and probably never will see.
Well, yeah, it's weird because I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I was like, well, they did sort of like give me the entire plot of the film with spoilers and everything, but if I wait long enough, I will forget all of the fine details, and then maybe I can circle back to it at that point. And of course, I've seen a couple because I've actually done episodes with you guys, and we've done some watch party stuff too. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm glad that that show exists and that I can actually stay ahead of the curve on it. So,
I mean,
I
I listen to so many podcasts. I'm not even current with my own show. So
yeah, I noticed that you're like now listening to this episode from 3 months ago.
yeah, I mean, I think currently right now I subscribe to like 61 different podcasts. So it's hard to keep
Wow.
up. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, up until just recently, again, I haven't had even a commute. So it was very difficult for me to like spend time
Mm,
listening to shows. And
mm,
then it was like, all right, well, I'm starting to go back to the office for some projects here and there. Or when I'm out taking long drives, road trips, whatever, I'm like, all right, I'll throw something on. I'll have a couple
mm,
hours. Or if I know I'm going to sit in traffic. But typically, if I'm at my desk working, it's like I can't listen to
mm,
something actively. So
mm,
I try to
mm,
just save it for times where I can actually listen. And I'm trying to get caught up with at least all of the shows that are part of the Discord chat that we're in. So
mm,
I'm like, okay, let me at least like get all those under my belt and then I'll
mhm.
go from there and start like trying to play catch up on all the other ones that I'm way
Yeah.
behind on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so the other thing for me too is, especially with the movie podcast, is I won't listen to an episode until I actually watch the movie. So that's another thing. Like, especially with your podcast, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen. And so some of them aren't available, so I have to try and find them. So it takes me sometimes a little while to catch up, but I'm actively trying to stay on top.
Yeah, I mean it's a hamster wheel. There's always going to be a new one from somebody that you can't quite keep up with, but we're also in a film club together and
Mhm.
we're going to do June-Claude Van Damme for the film club. So we may end up retreading this territory with some more people, but this is
Mhm.
not a movie that I told you to watch. This isn't
Mhm.
something where it was a project for the film club or anything. So for me, I grew up watching it. I was watching all of Van Damme's stuff. So as soon as this came out and was like in theaters, I was like, oh, this is like a big deal. This is like a
Mhm.
quote unquote American movie, even though not so much when you actually like look at some of the details. But for you, like, why did you put this movie on in the first place?
I think that somebody in the film club was talking about it, and I've been meaning to watch it for forever, and
Mm.
so I'm not typically a Roland Emmerich fan. It's not usually my wheelhouse, but I think this is possibly his best movie, probably his best movie, or at least my favorite movie of his. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's a ton of fun. I I am probably in the vast minority who have this opinion, but I think that Jean-Claude should have been a bigger star or as big of a star as Arnold. Um, I think that he's great in everything. Like he's like aloof and kind of stupid, but he's also really funny. Like if you watch his movies, there's always like really funny stuff in it, and he does the comedy stuff really well. And also, like his English is better, which I mean, I don't care about that, but like as far as like a movie star, I feel like he was almost more marketable than Arnold. I don't know, maybe it was like Arnold had all the like weightlifting stuff going in his favor because like people kind of knew him from that stuff, and but I mean, if I Arnold has obviously been in better movies. I think he just did a really good job of selling himself to American audiences. But if I could see like a redo of the careers, I would pick Van Damme over Arnold.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I do agree that I think that Van Damme probably was capable of being a much bigger star in general. And like last night as I'm watching the movie, it's like I've seen it several times. So it's like my mind is starting to like wander into other thoughts besides like just focus on sort of like the plot points here.
Mhm.
And, you know, I'm thinking like it's never going to happen, but I would love to talk to Van Damme about his career and about things like this specifically because I would say that like he wasn't even as big as Stallone, right?
Mm-mm.
So
No.
like when you're looking at all of sort of like the muscly 80s movie star icons. Like he's a little bit further down the ladder. And even if, I mean, as much as I don't like Steven Seagal or his films, I think the height of maybe Steven Seagal's filmmaking was a little bit higher than Van Damme's, because Van Damme just didn't have consistency. Like you said, he made movies that are fun. He has a pretty good knack for like comedic timing and sense of humor, but his most serious movies are the ones that sort of started him. And even his movies that are like the most quote unquote serious are still kind of, you know, fight tournament movies, whether it's Bloodsport or whether it's Kickboxer, whether it's Lionheart, like those movies that sort of crafted his identity were all of a similar ilk. So he didn't show a lot of range in like his ascension to sort of stardom. Whereas like Arnold's doing several different kinds of things. Stallone's doing several different kind of things. And like, so once you're just relying on them to be more than muscle, they have the opportunity to deliver. They probably get better projects too. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm fairly sure that it was Van Damme that was in the suit in Predator doing some of the motion cap back in the 80s, but like he's not credited in that film. So you would think that working with Arnold in 87 or whatever, when Predator came out, Predator being such a huge hit, that would have gotten him all the kind of contacts he needs to go on and make the kinds of movies that Arnold was making at the time and, you know, really capitalizing on. And I get that there is only so many of those movies to go around, but I look now at sort of what comes out every week, and there's always like a sort of generic action crime thriller coming out every week. Even if it's just straight to video, there's always one. Like Thomas Jane is making his whole career right now on those movies like 2 or 3 times a year. And I'm like, what happened to Thomas Jane? He was in one of the most famous like superhero movies ever, and now he's making straight to video like detective movies. I'm like, it's such a weird curve. But I really am interested to see maybe when we get into the details for the film club stuff for the month, if I can weasel my way into some of Van Damme's later stuff, because my heart is like, no, I want to do something stupid like Double Team, because why are him and Dennis Rodman in a movie together? Like this makes very little sense, other than Dennis Rodman is famous and willing to take chances, and Van Damme doesn't really care enough to say, hey, maybe this isn't great for my brand, or maybe this movie's going to suck. But it did have a theatrical release. I remember when my mom worked sort of like in the industry, we went to not like the red carpet first premiere for it, but it was like one of the press screenings for it out in the Westwood area. So like this movie had a decent rollout for it, or I should say that movie had a decent rollout for it, even at the time where, you know, Van Damme is not the top star in the business. And so in reading about this movie and that, you know, Universal Soldier premiered at Cannes. So it is that time of the year right now. So to think that Jean-Claude Van Damme had a movie at one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world is kind of crazy to think. And that he and Dolph Lundgren like staged an altercation to drum up interest in the film. So like pro wrestling tactics as well, just like a little bit crazy stuff. But there was a time in our history that Jean-Claude Van Damme had movies at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah, which is pretty wild. I actually didn't know that. So I mean, I would have to imagine that it had to just be his agent. Like he just wasn't, or maybe it was just bad timing. Maybe he was born in the wrong decade. Like maybe if he wasn't going up against Arnold and Stallone for everything, that he would have had a bigger career. But I mean, I think he's a better action star. He's better looking than both of them. Like he's basically like if you were going to make a action star in a lab, he'd be probably the perfect specimen. I mean, as we can see in the motel scene. I
mean, he will show you his specimen on demand. And maybe that's one of the things that slows him down.
Yeah.
Like, look, you could be in Terminator. He's like, all right, do I get to show my ass? They're like, well you're going to be naked.
Arnold showed his ass in Terminator.
It's not full rear front.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he definitely does. He definitely does full rear nudity quite a bit.
He does.
Which honestly, if I was him, I would have done the same. So
Honestly, I thought the same thing. I was like, if my ass looked like that, I would probably have pants on less often than I currently do.
Assless chaps just walking
Yeah.
around
I mean,
Venice Beach.
so sure, maybe he's like a little narcissistic or whatever.
Well,
but
he's French.
Yeah,
He's French, so
we don't want to offend all of the French.
We're not
he's
offending the French,
Belgian,
but...
by the way. He speaks.
Oh,
French.
Sorry.
Muscles from Brussels.
Yeah.
But I think you bring up a good point in that, like, he was competing with Arnold and Stallone. So it's not just this thing of, oh, I'm not getting roles and these movies aren't getting made. It's like you're competing with two of the other, not just biggest action stars of your decade. You're dealing with two of the biggest action stars of all time in all movie history. So even if he say finishes third in that, it's like, okay, you're still, in terms of all-time action stars, you're pretty high up there. And I think he deserves respect for that. I also think, in a weird way, because his preferred method of attack is kicks, that's not something that just translated well to American audiences. We were used to Rocky, Raging Bull. So by the time that we get to like 80s actioners, like, we want to see people get killed, but it's all about like biceps and punching people more so than it is like leg dexterity. So even though even though he is a legit martial artist to a degree, he has like the techniques under his belt. I think similar to a guy like Michael J. White, who we saw in Black Dynamite, is amazing. But again, it's just like, we saw Bruce Lee and we had that kind of style, and then it morphed into the big muscular action star, and there kind of wasn't a going back. Like, even when Jackie Chan was at the height of his popularity, he sort of relied on being in comedy vehicles to boost the kind of style that he was putting on camera versus like just being a Bruce Lee clone, which Jackie never wanted to do. So that was never really going to happen anyway.
Well, and he always relied on comedy. I mean, back from the very beginning, that was his thing. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's like some weird, like Western bias to, we don't want to see non-Asian actors doing martial arts. Like,
could be.
I don't know. Because I mean, Jackie Chan made a ton of money in this country. So
he did.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that he finally like got to have that moment, and he's got a documentary coming out this year that, I mean, from what I've seen from it so far, it looks amazing, and I'm just like, great, I'm gonna be crying the entire time. But we'll have to do some other Jackie Chan movie at another time, because he's got some that I think would qualify for this show as well. But I think he's got a lot more movies where I think the tone is handled more appropriately, where it's like, even though there is comedy and maybe it's a little lighthearted, like the entire thing is a little bit lighthearted outside of the action. When we look at a movie like Universal Soldier, like, if you really strip away Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren and like you kind of just imagine generic roles or generic actors there, like, this is a movie that's dealing with like Vietnam War PTSD. It's dealing with sort of like similar themes to RoboCop, where it's like, hey, you die on duty and, well, you thought you were dead. No, you back to work you go. So it's dealing with some really heavy, dark themes about like what the government is going to do to its citizens that serve them in like a military capacity. Unfortunately, that stuff I don't know translated well for the movie. I think it becomes more of just like an action vehicle than it does, like, I think at its core really exists as a kind of like dark sci-fi vehicle. And then you bring in JCVD, and he sort of like lightens the tone up because he's making jokes. He's showing his ass. He's like munching food in the bar and beating people up. So it definitely changes the tone of like what this movie could have been.
Well, Dolph is comedic too in this movie.
He is.
I mean, maybe unintentionally, but a lot of his, there's a lot of scenes where he's, there's funny lines. And I mean, I think in a way, if this movie maybe didn't take that comedic route, he might have it could have like elevated his career more. But it's like you said, like they had that basis where they could have gone real dark and sci-fi, but then it kind of ended up just being like this, it was like trying to like ride the fence of, serious, but then with the comedy. And I don't know. Maybe that didn't work back then.
Maybe. I mean, it worked for me, obviously, because I've loved this movie for 30 plus years, but it looks like we have a guest caller. Should I pick up the phone and allow our guest to join in with us?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's see. Hello. Caller, hello, you're on the air. Hello, caller, you're on the air.
Uh-oh. Holy fuck. Who let me in?
Well, you're the first guest caller we've ever had, so I had to just pick up the phone and see what happened.
I don't know why I'm here.
Did you dial 1-800 instead of 1-900?
Oh, fuck yes. You know what?
This isn't Ben's mom, okay?
Hey, big boy.
Oh. You guys are talking about a Roland Emmerich film, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we sure are.
Is there any bus scenes in this movie?
There is a giant bus chase.
Oh, wow.
There's also a butt scene as well.
Very prominent butt scene.
We do get a naked Van Damme, don't we?
Well, he's naked in every movie he ever does, pretty much.
I don't think that's true. I think in Time Cop, he just does an awesome splits like over his kitchen while wearing very tight.
Well, it was still sexual, so
he's as naked as he could have been in Time Cop, because if he's doing the splits with no underwear on, he's going to have some ganglies that they're going to catch.
That could have been.
Camera.
That might not have been attractive.
Nobody needs that much crap.
No, I don't want to see that.
You don't want to see the Jean-Claude Van Damme?
No. Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
I'm still trying to figure out what is the movie where he does the butt dance, like in the dirt bar. He's like in this like shitty little dirt bar in some country or whatever, and he's dancing with two chicks, and he wiggles his butt, and he drops down to the ground in the splits, and and he's having a great time. What
is it? Kickboxer?
It's either Kickboxer or Bloodsport.
I keep thinking it's got to be one of the originals. It's got to be.
He's wearing his little, like, I don't know if it's olive, like green or brown tank top. He's like his high-waisted pants, and he's boogieing.
Yeah.
It is the most joyous thing I've ever seen. I mean, Van Damme looks like he's really having a great time.
I'm sure he was.
It is Kickboxer. For anybody out there who just wants to watch that scene, I mean, you could obviously find it without, watching the entire movie, but the whole movie is worth it too. This is the one where he's got to like dip his hands in glass at the end, and they're doing like sort of bare knuckle boxing, but not quite exactly. It's a kumite one. So, but I mean, like Ben and I were talking about, like 4 of his original movies are all like some secret underground fight tournament.
Right. Well, I mean, this was the first one, and it was based on what Frank Duke's DUX, which turns out everything he ever said was a fucking lie.
Oh, we got Bloodsport out of it, right?
We did, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of action stars out there, and there's none like Arnold, obviously. But
I actually just made the argument that if I could go back and switch careers, I would pick Van Damme.
Well, Van Damme is a very charismatic actor. He's not only a good martial artist and stuff, but he's also, he's good in front of the camera.
He is. He knows how to work the camera, and like you said, a lot of charisma. And I think, when you look at maybe if you're choosing between Stallone, Van Damme, and Arnold, like Arnold's the tallest of them. Plus, he's also like the biggest in general from his bodybuilding career. So it's like he's the most physically imposing. And then, maybe you don't want your star to be like 5'7" or whatever. But I mean, hey, Stallone pulled it off, but he also had to sort of like write his own ticket in order to make his career explode in the way that it did, where maybe Van Damme maybe he didn't have a good agent. Maybe he didn't get the kind of scripts that were best for him. I don't know, but he still had a fun career that has honestly like a shit ton of movies in it, and I've seen a lot of them, and I'm typically never disappointed. I don't think I've ever watched a Van Damme movie and been like, well, that didn't give me what I expected.
Well, I heard he
But-
was an asshole.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, so that is the other part of it, is that I think he was hard to work with. And he's even, I think, recently talked about how he kind of wishes that he would have been a little bit different.
yeah, and you had mentioned the JCVD documentary, which
Oh, it's not a documentary, though.
That's not a documentary. That's an actual fiction. I mean, it's based on his life, obviously, but it's not like an actual documentary.
yes, my mistake. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's presented in mockumentary style. In that film, we do get sort of like a career retrospective from him, though, in terms of like him looking back at the person he was. You know, I don't want to speak out of turn. I think he was like drinking a lot as well. Like at a certain point, it messed with his marriage as well. So it's like you see him like lamenting this kind of sort of like guilt and sadness over some of the decisions of his past. And, you know, it came in a time in his career where he wasn't getting the top tier roles anymore. He wasn't getting sort of A-list opportunities. And I think he needed to sort of like look inwardly and do something. And even if that was like the process of him actually going through doing the work, healing, sort of making reparations with people that he's wronged in the past, I think the reason that movie sort of resonated with a lot of people was for those reasons.
I think
Absolutely.
the thing that always confuses me, though, is like with him not being a bigger star is, you know, obviously sex sells, and I know it sells more with women, but I mean, if we're just talking like straight like attractiveness or sex appeal, I think he's way more attractive than any of the other big action stars that he was up against. So even just that alone, like I don't know how he didn't again just have a bigger career.
Well, he wasn't really like doing romance vehicles, though.
Well, either was Arnold. Arnold really wasn't.
He was, I mean, but yeah, other than, I'm trying to think, like, okay, in Conan the Barbarian, he has like a love interest. They sort of like, they don't have like actual like sex scenes, but there's implications that he's sleeping with several women throughout the course of the movie. But, you know, they don't really use Arnold as a romantic lead that often either. There's often times where like he's married, or like in True Lies, obviously he's paired opposite Jamie Lee Curtis, and they have like the dance scene in the hotel room, but it's not really a moment of like Arnold sweeping a woman off of her feet, or him like the way that Fabio was portrayed as a model, where it's like he rips his shirt off and he's got the long hair and it's just like women swooning over him. Like that's never the way that Arnold sort of was portrayed on film. And for the most part, I don't think it really got done with Stallone or Van Damme either. And maybe, hey, there was an opportunity out there for him that he didn't cash in on.
Well, I mean, I think Van Damme has. I think in a bunch of movies he has like some women.
Well,
that
look,
are, like,
it's easier to slide Van Damme into a romantic entanglement than it is with a Schwarzenegger, I think.
yeah. Like I said, I think it's a combination of possibly his agent and just that, you know, if people didn't want to work with him, then they probably weren't eager to give him like the A-list roles, you know?
Can I do my Schwarzenegger and Running Man? Can I do it?
Sure. I don't know. I feel like you need to do a Van Damme impression, but go for it, Arnie.
Oh, well, I'll get. I'm saving that one for when you and I do Hard Target.
Oh yeah, baby.
I love that movie. No, it was just the when he and what's her name, Maria Conchita Alonso. He's like trying to kidnap her through the airport, and she gives him away, and then they get arrested and whatnot. And she's like, "Oh, this is all really fucked up." And he goes, "We could have gone to Hawaii, but you fucked it up."
Exactly. So like how you can't have him be the romantic lead when it's like
no, he can't. He doesn't know how to. That's what I'm saying. Van Damme was like had good English. He's like way more attractive and charming and has like the charisma. So it's like Like I said, I don't get it.
I think at the very least, we can all agree that Van Damme is the best dancer of all the action stars.
He's got a cute little butt.
I wouldn't say it's little.
Unless he was using a double, which I don't think
unless
he
he's
was.
using I don't think he wasn't around in the time of Brazilian butt lifts, so pretty sure that was all natural.
He's going to be cracking open those beer bottles for all of us.
He spent a lot of time doing squats before they filmed this movie, and they're like, "Why are you taking your pants off?" He's like, "Trust me, it'll work."
Did you guys watch the trailer yet?
No, we didn't watch the trailer.
We haven't even we've literally just been talking about Van Damme and why his career wasn't bigger.
Oh,
we haven't even started talking about the movie.
Why is his career not as big as his ass?
I don't think it's big.
You may need to revisit this movie.
I think you need to watch. I think you need to watch the hotel scene in this movie again, because that's one of the biggest male asses I've ever seen.
Is that where he's naked in the rain?
Yeah, he's outside, and it's like right before they show up to plaster the.
Yeah, he took off everything but his socks.
The socks stay on.
Yeah, because he was overheating. He had to take all his clothes off.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
He's like, put that in my contract. But yeah, so Nix, do you
we get two butts. We get two butt scenes in this movie.
Was there a second?
Did we get Dolph's butt?
Yes, the gas station.
That's right.
Oh, that's not Dolph's butt. I want to see Dolph's butt.
No Dolph butt.
Oh man. Oh, I gotta say also, because I probably won't be here the whole time, is that Dolph Lundgren is having a fucking blast in this
movie. Oh,
absolutely steals the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was reading that he had auditioned for, I think, Gladiator, so the role that Hans Moller ends up playing, the large buddy within the slave fighters in Proximo's sort of like little unit, and Lundgren had auditioned for that, and I guess Ridley Scott was like, no, he's not a good enough actor. And then I'm watching this thinking, what are you talking about? Dolph Lundgren is the best thing in this movie. I think he's just having an absolute blast and really buying into the psychotic nature of his character, where Van Damme still has to do the Van Damme thing to sell the movie. Lundgren he doesn't have to be this sort of stoic rock of a character that he's been in other movies. He really gets to just let loose and be psychotic, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean especially with the correct direction. And I'm not a Roland Emmerich fan, but I think they gave him just the right amount of direction in this to let him shine. It's amazing.
I agree. Do you want to hang out to hear Ben's haiku?
Oh, Ben has haiku.
Did he? Did he do his homework?
I didn't finish it. I
fine.
tried and I couldn't. I was having a hard time.
Well, then you get to hear my haiku.
God damn it.
Like I said, I always come prepared just in case.
You do it.
I mean, yeah, well, I told you at the last minute. I was like, I probably should have told you this a couple days before. Not a few hours before. All right, so I'll give you a synopsis haiku for this movie.
That's not it.
No, it ain't, buddy. Hold on. Now I got to edit all this out in post-production.
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay.
He definitely will.
Yes, I will.
I know he will, but I mean, hey, man, sometimes it's fun to let the audience know how much fun it was to record.
Oh, it is. But I also need to insert the wood flute sound. That's the fun part. Okay, here we go. It says, duty doesn't end here. Death is only the beginning. Zombie cyborg time. There you go.
Perfect.
I was focused on duty. Can you start over?
Oh my god. This has to get edited out.
Why?
He said duty.
Start it over.
All right, one more time. For the people in the back, duty doesn't end here. Death is only the beginning. Zombie cyborg time.
Oh, nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
very
threw it together
creative.
at the last minute too. So I was like, well, just in case, I think I better be prepared. So here we are.
Ben, did you even write one line, buddy?
I will have a haiku for when we do Wet Hot American Summer.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
which I'm guessing will be in July then.
Yes. Well, I'm starting to do like summer stuff over the summer too. I'm gonna do like big epic-y style movies that are bad. So Masters of the Universe, Waterworld, what's another one? I think Return to Oz, which I don't even think is bad, but it qualifies somehow. So then we'll do maybe more like summer movies for August or something. But
okay.
we can record soon. Cool. So I guess I'll ask, since you're both here, I'll ask you both this question. Like, Ben, you like this movie, but why do you think someone would say it's a bad movie?
I actually don't know, because I compare this to some of the bigger action movies of the time. And I mean, I guess, was Demolition Man considered a bad movie?
I did it on this show, so it was
okay.
I guess it was considered bad enough where it fell down to me. But
right.
It's basically like middle of the road is where it ultimately landed.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's probably just the script isn't great. I don't even think the direction's that great. It's kind of jumpy. The editing's not great. It's kind of a little all over the place. I would have liked to have seen this in like Michael Bay's hands. I'm a humongous fan of Pain and Gain. Like, I think Pain and Gain is amazing, and I would have loved to have seen that kind of because that has obviously a lot of comedy and stuff in it, and I just think that in the right hands, this could have been a much bigger hit than it was.
That's fair. I mean, it was ultimately pretty successful, only costing like 23 million, ended up making like 100 something. So like really surprised people, I think, with how successful it was.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
doesn't exist in like that lexicon of like iconic action movies that some of like the other guys have.
It succeeded. Well, yeah. It succeeded pretty well, like overseas. In the US, it was pretty much not financially successful.
Well, it's a good thing we have you here, since you're not a big fan of this movie. What do you think someone would say as to why this is a bad movie?
It's fucking boring. That's all I got. It's fucking boring. There's occasionally,
except for the bus chase, right?
Oh God! I mean, that tells you something. All I remember is that they rode in a bus for a while. It's like the main thing. But I mean, at this point, Roland Emmerich didn't really have a huge, like cash in Hollywood. He hadn't really made Independence Day yet.
Nope.
So he was working on a smaller budget and da-da-da-da. I mean, if he had made this movie later on, I imagine it might have been kind of like, what's the guy Ben was just salivating over?
Michael
Bay.
Michael Bay. Yeah, that guy. Might have been more like that.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, this was Emmerich's first American film. And then, he goes on to do Stargate after this. And I think you see with the bigger budget, he's able to sort of like capture broader ideas. And then, of course, Independence Day is a huge hit. Godzilla, not so much, but still was successful. Does The Patriot, and then sort of gets into like disaster movies for a little while. So, he's not for everybody, but I think he's a very capable sort of genre director. Put it that way.
Are you there, Ben?
Yeah. Ben? No, I agree. I just think that this isn't. I don't think he was ready to make this kind of movie when he made it. He's capable, but I just think at the time and the budget, I just think it was bad combination, timing wise.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, even though I make fun of the bus scene, because that's really the only thing. When somebody goes Universal Soldier, I go, oh yeah, they were on a bus for a while. But no, the action scene there is pretty cool, and they use a lot of miniatures and stuff like that, and it looks very impressive, like with the flips and then them going off the cliff and all that. I mean, it's all done very well. It's just it feels few and far between, and there's not a lot for me to sink my teeth in. So maybe again, it's a bad idea that I'm here.
Well, you're always welcome, buddy. And I mean, the door's open for you because we're gonna do hard target, so you'll have a chance to, gush over a different Jean-Claude movie.
Are you guys going to talk about the sequels at all, Nick?
Yeah, we'll probably get into it a little bit. I mean, I'm not super well versed in those. I think I've seen a handful of them because the first couple were like direct to video. So I'm not sure that I saw those right away. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, it's been 25 years. Everybody wants a new Universal Soldier theatrical release, right?
I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any of them.
So I can just throw in my thing real quick because I'm a big follower of Outlaw Vern. I don't know if any of you follow him or have read him or bought his books. He's a huge action. He's a huge action movie fan. And apparently, from what I know from that group of people, is that there was one good one, and I think it was called Regeneration, and it brought back Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren together.
Yeah, I think that might have been like the last one.
Oh, there's another one after that. There's another one after that, but that's the one I always hear all of those nerds talking about.
Okay, so. I'll have to check that one out. I saw the one that had like Bill Goldberg, and then maybe it was Regeneration that had Andrei Arlovsky, the UFC fighter. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll check it out for that reason. So it's possible that I've seen it and it just didn't like register long term because a lot of these movies are very similar.
Well, I am sorry. What?
Who's the guy? Oh, okay. All right. Well, have a good night.
Later, buddy.
He sounds like Chad from Saturday Night Live. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it was nice to join in. Guys, you enjoy your episode and love you both. Bye.
Love you, bud. Take care.
Bye.
First caller.
First time caller.
First time caller. First time, long time.
First time, long time. The one of the soldiers, he has like, I feel like he normally has like a glass eye.
Yeah, the Debo and guy from Friday and
is it Zeus or
No Holds
something?
Barred?
What's his name?
His name is Tony Lister.
Is that his name?
That's his actual name, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was Zeus in No Holds Barred. Oh, sorry, Tom Lister. Tiny is what I was thinking of as his nickname.
He was in Over the Top, no?
Maybe.
Or am I thinking of somebody else?
One? He might be. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I can't.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. He was.
I kind of wish.
Fifth Element.
Oh yeah. I kind of wish that he had a bigger role in this movie. I like him as an actor.
I would have liked to see more of the other Unisols myself because we get Michael J. White briefly in the Vietnam flashback scene. And then he comes back in a subsequent film as like, oh, now he's one of the characters. But yeah, he was in this movie just off to the side very early and then doesn't get a second, crack at it during the sort of like main Unisol march. And it would have been, I think, interesting to see more of them with like more, not necessarily personalities, but like you see that like Van Damme has his thing, like Lundgren has his thing, like more of the leftover humanity that's in them that sort of like trickled down into who they are now. But then it's all of a sudden in like a more heady sci-fi space that's really dealing with some deeper themes, and that gets pushed aside for the bus chase.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I love bus chases.
Yeah, no, it was great.
All right, well, go for it.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we should probably get to the trailer here soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it now.
Before we get to the trailer, it's time for a quick word from our sponsor. We all have moments where we feel anxious, overwhelmed, sad, or depressed from time to time. Whether it's an existential crisis brought on by the day-to-day stressors of just being a person, or some kind of acute onset PTSD brought about by being resurrected without your consent, there's a million things that could make someone want to cry. It's only human. But now, you never have to cry alone again thanks to Universal Shoulder, the surrogate shoulder to cry on for the tech generation. Thanks to their brand new cutting-edge technology, the warm embrace of a loved one is just a touch away. All you have to do is schedule an appointment, and one of their mobile laboratories will come to you. One small injection into your brainstem with a comically big needle, and you're all set up. Then all you gotta do is download the app, create an account, agree to the lengthy acknowledgments, and sign over all your personal data so it can be sold to the highest bidder, and you're good to go. Once activated, the app sends a signal to your neural implant, which in turn tells your brain that you're in the caring embrace of a loved one. Your body literally can't tell the difference, so you'll be fully comfortable letting the tears flow. So if you're in need of a good cry but don't want to feel alone, call Universal Shoulder today to book your free no-obligation consultation, because being human is universal, and we could all use a shoulder to cry on. Side effects may include excessive overheating, insatiable appetite, Vietnam War flashbacks, and or sudden urge to take off all your clothes. Please consult a doctor if any of these side effects last for more than 4 hours. And now, back to the show.
I have never seen this before.
I don't know if I ever saw it myself. Because I was just a Van Damme fan before this, so I don't know if it was something that came to me that way, but let's check it out.
It was a top secret government project.
Pack them in ice. All of them.
Designed to create the perfect soldier.
No man would ever again have to die in the service of his country.
Cryogenically preserved.
That's an interesting sales pitch.
Memory clearance.
Genetically enhanced.
How's the picture?
Pretty ugly.
Very fun, very fun.
This is the Terminator music.
We're at the tower. Okay, here we go.
Who are these guys?
30 hostages held inside the power station at the base of the structure.
I said shut up! We're inside.
Begin phase 2.
It's like the John Connor motorcycle chase scene.
Successful mission for the Universal Soldier.
But there was something.
I had heard a rumor about them recycling the music, but I mean, the score is great. But
44, do you read me?
At the end of the mission, he became completely unresponsive.
Inside the machine is a man.
Do you really think the Pentagon would allow the regeneration of dead soldiers?
Stop the girl. Shoot if you have to.
And all it takes
Veronica Roberts, TNA.
is one memory
You didn't do anything!
to awaken him.
No, hit it!
a little push kick.
Universal
Straight.
Soldier.
What the hell did they do to you?
Don't know. But I'm going to
Why even have that in the trailer?
One can't be controlled.
Buckle up.
The other cannot be stopped.
This mission has been canceled.
I'm giving the orders from now on. I'm gonna teach them all.
Oh, here's that bus chase.
The ultimate weapons of the future have declared war on each other.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Dolph Lundgren.
Universal Soldier.
Stop, that is an order!
That's a good trailer, though.
It's a good trailer, but I feel like they sold it a little bit different than.
Yeah, they just sort of weaved all of the action together, and it's like definitely much more sci-fi forward there. Like,
Right.
the focus is definitely on some of those themes that I mentioned, but then when you get to the movie, like, there's very little consideration for that outside of like Jean-Claude's journey of self-discovery. But as I was watching it again last night, I'm like, you know what? This movie, like, it steals a lot of stuff from T2. And then to get to the trailer and to hear that they actually are using some of the score from T2, which they, I'm sure, had to pay like a hefty licensing rights for. You know, I get it. T2 is super successful. You want to sort of exist in the same action realm. Go ahead and make people think this is like, hey, if you love T2, come see this movie. And you get even the bus chase that we were talking about earlier. You got the big rig chasing the smaller truck. Even I mean, it's a full size bus, but you've got explosions going off on either side of it, just like on the bridge with the liquid nitrogen truck. You sort of have the identity of like these are men, but they're also robots. But then
Right.
technically they're undead, so they're more like zombies than they are
Yeah.
cyborgs. So,
Yeah.
it does have a lot of connective tissue in that way. But before I thought to myself, hey, there's a lot of like borrowing going on from T2. I was like, is this movie Van Damme's Terminator? Like, is this that movie for him? And I think it probably could have been, but the two direct sequels for this were like straight to video releases. So even though this
Mhm.
movie was successful, it's like Roland Emmerich moved on, took his fame and his money and his opportunity and went and did other things and sort of just like left this project in the dirt. And I don't know who took over the second and third installments of the film, but I feel like, yeah, this could have been a much bigger franchise and a bigger launching pad um, for Van Damme than it actually ended up being.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because you get like great stunt work here, like great practical stunt work. You got these two guys like rappelling down the side of the dam with the hostage scene in the beginning. The scene there where they blow up that gas station is fantastic because they had to rebuild this gas station along Route 66. Like it was there, but they had to like refurbish it and make it look like it was operating just
Uh-huh.
to detonate it and blow it
Wow.
up in like RoboCop fashion. So like if you like these other kind of actioners, this is a movie that exists within the same framework of a lot of those other movies. I think it comes down to just like, are you partial to Van Damme's style or are you more partial to these other action stars style? Because we get a love interest here. It's Ali Walker. Yeah. And I think like she's good. Like similarly, watching this, I'm like, what happened to her career after this? It feels like this was a good launching pad vehicle for her to go on and then be a lead in sort of like similar movies, at least, because the role that she's playing here is like I could see maybe like Laura Linney in this role as well. I could see trying to think. I mean, this reminds me a little bit of who is it that was in Eraser with Arnold?
Oh.
Vanessa? Yes. Vanessa Williams. So like yeah, like these kinds of roles where it's like you're technically sort of like the love interest a little bit, but at
Mhm.
the same time, like these are characters with agency that go around and actually like have motives. And it's like honestly, if it's not for Ali Walker's character like being the reporter in this movie, I don't know that the movie actually goes anywhere because she's the one whose investigation actually sparks all of this stuff happening. So, you know, it was a little disappointing to see that it didn't really launch her career after this either. So, a little bit of a bummer there, but I think
Yeah, I mean,
ultimately
I think she's just as important in this movie. I mean, she's equally as important as Van Damme and Dolph because, like you said, a lot of the movie doesn't get moved forward without her.
yeah, I don't think any of the movie gets moved forward without her. I mean, yeah, you could have it be an action movie where there's maybe like that maybe you take that hostage situation and sort of like turn it into the entire movie. And then
Mhm.
it's like in the process of going through that and having some flashbacks, he's becoming self-aware and then you have to hunt him down kind of thing. So you could maybe get to some of the same beats, but for me this time the moment where I felt that the movie was like, this is what this movie should have been was when Lundgren has taken full command, like he's back and he's, Sergeant Andrew Scott. He's back 100%.
Yeah.
And he's like just raging with psychotic PTSD. And he takes the grocery store hostage.
Mhm.
Because, like, if that's the whole movie and it's like just a hostage standoff, like, and then you sort of like have to diffuse that. Plus, you have this other character who is also a super soldier who maybe is going to get involved in this. Like that scene to me was really scary because I finally like put myself in the position of those people just going grocery shopping. And it's like, I don't even want to be approached to like sign some piece of paper outside or like, I don't like getting approached when I'm out grocery shopping. So to all of a sudden be like, oh wow, I'm at the grocery store, and not only is this like a Vietnam vet with raging PTSD and is super violent, but he's also a fucking super soldier. So we can't even take him down conventionally the way that we would want to anyway. He's wearing a necklace made out of human ears. Like, this shit is fucking scary. And his
Well,
buddy
I
is
mean,
over there behind the meat counter eating a raw, like, porterhouse.
a raw steak. Yeah. I mean,
Might
that
have
would,
been
if I
tough for
saw
one.
if I saw a dude standing behind the meat counter just like chomping on a raw steak and he looked like that, I would be terrified. I would run out of the store.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not asking questions. I'm just leaving.
it just felt like that at that point, like the movie decided that it wanted to be real. Where a lot of the other time, like, most of the movies that are being told about sort of like Vietnam War era or Vietnam War experience are a lot about the trauma and the PTSD. But,
Mm.
You don't really get crazy sort of actioners that start there and then leave a lot of that narrative behind. And,
Right.
so they have to weave in all this stuff about him sort of like coming from like a French mother and like why does he have an accent and all this. So you're sort of like working a little bit over hard in order to get to the end goal where I think, if you revisit this, go back to the script, strip it down to like the scariest elements, really focus on sort of the ideology between connecting these characters to their past, because there's this line of dialogue of like, oh, when they like switch back on as humans, they're left with like the memory of what happened when they died. So it's like, yeah, they're all gonna come back fucked up. Like, this was never
Yeah.
a good plan by the US government to bring these soldiers back. And then like you go beyond that, you would have like, as soon as people found out that this was like the thing, like the reporter, like this would be a huge story that the government is like recycling soldiers and turning them into super soldiers. Because like, think of a movie like Captain America, right? What if Captain America comes back and it's like he's fucking having PTSD episodes in the middle of the city? Like, he's gonna fuck people up. And it's like,
Yeah.
sorry, Cap, I know that like you're mostly a good guy, but he's gonna behead some people with that shield just because he's freaking out. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched The
Yeah.
Boys, but they did a good job of that with the character Soldier Boy, who's basically like a Captain America kind of character.
Mhm.
Yeah, he comes back and his mind is fucked up. So
Mhm.
I like that narrative, and I think that there's like real substantial storytelling there. But this is a movie where it's like, hey, it's a Roland Emmerich film. We want to fucking blow shit up. We've got to move things along. So it's like we have sort of like action beats that are familiar and pretty consistent with a lot of other action movies as well.
Mhm.
But we get to the hotel in between Van Damme like taking his clothes off and like demanding ice, right? We run into like the motel guy at the desk, right? Like,
Oh,
just this
yeah.
very zany character who's like giving them a hard time, who's like busting her balls about the phone, like a very good character choice to plug him in there and just like kind of let him do his thing. Robert Trevor, the actor that played the motel owner, and he's got like this horny old grandma that's like staring at Van Damme's dong like when he walks
It's
out.
great. It's
It's like
great.
but it's like I love it, but it's also it seems like it's intentionally changing the tone into like a different type of movie where it's like, okay, this could be a little zanier action comedy with this kind of stuff. And I'm trying to think of something else that sort of exists within that realm. And it's like, I can't really think of anything like that because, like, Species kind of has that going on too, where it's like a darker sci fi action film and then it stops and has some sort of like really horny, weird moments in it. But like the
Mhm.
tone for Species is always fairly serious in comparison to this. But it does lead us to like him in the bathtub where we see the bullet heel effect, which was really cool, like, practically
Yeah.
done at that time as well. So that's a really cool effect. And then we get the whole action sequence at the hotel where they're just unloading thousands of rounds into the hotel, and he's busting through walls again, like Terminator, runs into a dead end again, like Terminator 2, when they,
Mhm.
they're stuck and they kind of have to see it on the monitors that they're stuck. Basically the same thing. So it's like it's retreading a lot of stuff that I understand was effective and worked for me in this other film. And I think they're using it in a way that makes sense, but it also feels maybe like it's drawing out these action sequences rather than focusing in on stuff that really could have made this movie like iconic as its own thing rather than an action vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think it's dealing with like identity crisis. It doesn't really know what it wants to be because like you said, had it just stayed the dark, them dealing with, the ramifications of war and all that and becoming a, super soldier, kind of like RoboCop, where
Yeah.
it's like had it stayed dark like RoboCop, this movie could have been, I mean, I think we'd be talking about this on a much different level.
Yeah.
It would not be on your show, probably.
Probably, and that's all I could think of while watching it this time. I was like, this movie is like maybe one or two small adjustments away from being like a really excellent movie. And instead, like, yeah, it's a little irreverent and fun. And it's a good action movie, and like I still remember it fondly, but for the most part, like it's not critically well received. And I kind of understand that, but you know, I think if you I think if you enjoy Van Damme's stuff historically, then this is sort of a natural progression upwards for him, going from sort of underground, whether it's Lionheart, I think takes place in jail, is like a jail fighting tournament, and then Bloodsport and Kickboxer are both like underground kumite sort of movies.
Mhm.
Even
Mhm.
Street Fighter, when they bring him in to do Street Fighter, like, yeah, it's a little bit bigger, but it is still based around like this secret fighting tournament. So to put him in this, where it's like he's actually a soldier and he actually has like a larger story arc, he's starting to enter the territory of the movies of like, oh, this is Rambo, this is Commando, like these vehicles for these other stars. And it just didn't seem to really catapult him in the way that I would have expected it to. But it did end up, launching a series of successful films, at least of this title that he got to star in. So it's not like it
Right.
completely went to waste or anything, but it is weird to look back and just think, well, all of the things that really like could have been after this, because I think we get, what is the one right after this? Nowhere to Run, I haven't seen, but he comes in, does Last Action Hero, Hard Target, Time Cop, which is another one that is like, is Time Cop good or is it horrible kind of thing? It sort of
Yeah.
exists between being this important kind of like theoretical sci-fi tech thriller and action film, and then it's like, oh, he does goofy stuff where he like sticks his foot in a guy's face at the mall and tells him to like read his shoe, and it's like, okay, why is that in this movie? Like, so
Right.
I feel like, I don't know if it's just the people that like he decided to work with or that he had access to work with sort of had the sense of humor that enabled these kind of films to be made, or whatever it was, but I just feel like a lot of his movies sort of fell into this after that initial start where, like, if you look at Lionheart, Kickboxer, Bloodsport, regardless of maybe the one dance scene, like those are all fairly serious movies. Like
Yeah.
they're all taking their content fairly seriously. And then I feel
Right.
like that was like less and less the case as his career went on.
Mhm. Yeah, it's you wonder if he had anything to do with that or it's just he just made bad decisions on picking movies. It's hard to say.
It is tough to say. But how do you feel about doing some trivia right now?
Sure. I'll probably fail, but
Well, that's fine.
Time for trivia.
We're just we just do it for fun to see, hey, audience, you want to learn some things that maybe we didn't know before and that I didn't know before for sure. Question number 1. The initial draft of this screenplay existed under a different working title. What was that title?
hmm. I did not know this, so no idea.
I had no idea either, but apparently there's a version of the script called Crystal Knights, and that's knights like knights in shining armor. So I really
Oh,
don't
wow.
know what that movie would have been, but I am curious now to see
That's
what
a
the
terrible title though.
Yes, Universal Soldier is significantly better, because I
Yeah.
really don't know what the Crystal Knights movie is gonna be about, at all, starring
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe they're just like they're soldiers with PTSD that are back, and like instead of being reanimated to carry out the government work. They work at like a disco club or something. Who knows? I might actually watch that though. Okay. Question number 2. This movie's spawned a surprising amount of sequels thanks to its box office performance. How many movies in total are in the Universal Soldier franchise?
I think it's 6.
Bingo. Well done, sir. There you go. You got that one. It was this one first. Then the 2 direct-to-video ones were Brothers in Arms and Unfinished Business. Then they came back. There's enough time away where it's like, hey, we're going back to theaters with Universal Soldier: The Return. Then Regeneration, which was the one that Nick had mentioned. And then Day of Reckoning was in 2012. And that's probably the one that I saw. But I feel like I kind of want to watch all these if I have time. And maybe once June starts officially, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do it. Because I feel like I've seen a good amount of animated films this year or this month. So maybe I can stay committed in that way.
Nice.
And let's see. Question number 3. This was the last film to be recorded using what audio technology?
Huh. Dolby?
No. Oddly enough, this was the last film I think that was recorded in CDS format. And after this film came out, Soundtex developed DTS, which was then transitioned to Dolby. And I guess it was just a higher audio quality, and it's been used in most theaters ever since then.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Do you want to go for a 4th very stupid trivia question?
Sure.
What is the name of Jean-Claude Van Damme's character in this movie?
Luke.
Very good. What's his last name?
Oof. Did they say it?
They do eventually, but yeah, when I was watching it last night, I was like, wow, they really don't even give him a name until very late in the movie, and then they throw it in there a bunch because it's like they start calling him that once he meets his family.
I can't remember Robitaille or something.
Luke Robitaille.
The LA Kings
500 goal scorer. It's Luke Devereaux.
Oh, okay. I knew it was something French sounding. Luke Robitaille, this is way off topic, but Luke Robitaille was one of my favorite players growing up. Even though I'm an Islanders fan, but there was something about him that I just really loved.
Yeah, he's just great.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be, but I believe Robitaille got traded from the Kings to the Penguins at the time that they were filming Sudden Death. So this is like 95. So I believe Luke Robitaille is actually in the movie Sudden Death, which is basically Van Damme's Die Hard, but it's at a hockey game. And the Penguins are playing, and I think he like runs into Robitaille in the locker room or something like that.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but when thinking of Van Damme movies that are actually like good, but also it's kind of a knockoff of another movie that already exists, Sudden Death is a pretty solid one. I mean, Van Damme gets the pads on and goes out there and plays goalie for them for some reason. I forgot why exactly. He was like hiding, so he's like, "Oh, I have to sub in and play goalie, make a key save in this playoff game, and then I'm out of here."
That's so funny.
But like,
did he do it as a kickboxer? Did he like kick the fuck out of you?
It was a kick save, actually. Yes, but it was not. It would have been better if it was like a spinning back kick save.
Oh god, or a split. Can you imagine if he did a split?
Yeah. But like, we're talking about action stars, right? And it's like, this is not something that like Schwarzenegger or Stallone ever did or would think to do, right? Like, I don't think Arnold was like ever like a baseball player, just like step in and like hit a home run in a movie. I mean, like, sure, Stallone was of course Rocky, so I'll give him enough credit there. But like, he didn't go into some other random sport. Well, I'll say cliffhanger, and so we'll give Stallone credit for that. Like, he did climbing. So I think that's good enough. But yeah, like, in your career to be like, I once played goalie for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, they had to film it during a real game too. So it's not like they could just bullshit. It's like, all right, you have all the skaters out here. We're just going to bring in Van Damme for this one shot, probably during like an intermission or something. And then we're going to get out of here. But that's like a really cool moment to have in your career.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's cool. Actually, funny story. I was actually at a Yankees game while they were filming Mr. Baseball.
Oh, wow.
With Tom Selleck.
It's a great movie.
And they had like the fans get into like one specific area, so it looked like it was like very full. Because back then the Yankees were not that good, and we used to go to games for very cheap because nobody else was going. And so I remember I can't find myself in the movie, but I was definitely there, and they filmed at least like a pan or like a shot, but it probably got edited out is my guess. But yeah, we were there. We saw Tom Selleck on the field, and it was pretty cool.
Awesome. That's a movie that was like, I don't know why I saw it. It was probably on cable or something. And I feel like it's just like very genuine and earnest and really like represents like an athlete who is at the top of their game and then is trying to like hang on to glory and still be effective and has to do that in a different environment where they're sort of not welcome. I don't know. I think it's just a really good representation of that journey because I have a friend who like basically grew up playing basketball against guys like Baron Davis, right? So he was in like the sort of youth group of like guys that are very good. And then, Baron ended up being like 6'4", 6'5". My friend's not quite that big. So it's like his opportunities started to dry up as he didn't grow, but he still played internationally. He played in Australia, he played in Vegas when they had whatever the CBA team in Vegas was. I forget what the name was. And then he played internationally as a pro as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so to see that like it's sort of actually represents that journey pretty well of like being a high level US athlete that is now going and like sort of creating a career elsewhere. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why we're talking about Mr. Baseball so much, but it's a great movie. So if anybody out there is a baseball fan that's looking for like a sleeper baseball movie, that's really a good one.
Yeah, great.
I'm sure Donald will be happy if we did a month.
I was gonna say Donald's gonna be like baseball talk,
right?
Well, we were just, I mean, it came up because of the Luke Robitaille thing, which is funny because I didn't know that, and then how funny that it turns back into Van Damme, the same.
Yeah, and there's like some other interesting trivia in that. Like I said earlier, this isn't as American as a movie as it would seem. As like this is Roland Emmerich's. It's not. It's Roland Emmerich's first American film. Van Damme is Belgian.
Right.
Lundgren is Swedish. And then Ralph Moeller is German. So like basically a lot of the lead characters are not American. And so you get a sort of like a different flavor on American action movies. It's like, I think Roland Emmerich was pretty clear. Like, I want to blow some shit up. We definitely have to have a car chase. What other kind of like cool stunts can we do? We've got guns. Let's run a bunch of squibs. But the rappel down the dam wall is like a really cool stunt because like you're shooting that from the bottom of the dam and you have two guys on ropes. And if anything goes wrong, like those guys are dead. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's impressive.
Very much. So.
It makes me wonder if this was made by a French film director, like say Luc Besson. Had it been maybe, I don't know, maybe it would have been different.
I think, Besson maybe would be a little bit more adept at handling like when to have the humor or when to sort of understand that the lead is supposed to have a sense of humor rather than like, oh, you're always serious, always serious, always serious. Odd dick joke. Always serious, always serious, always serious, ass cheeks to the wind. So I think just maybe the timing of that kind of stuff would be a little bit different under Luc Besson. But also, this production used real ice, right? Like with the amount of ice that you see in this movie, you wouldn't think that filming in Arizona would be wise to constantly just invest in ice purchases when you're on the clock. However, they used real ice and bought it almost entirely from one local 7-Eleven in Arizona. So much money spent on this ice that the guy that ran the 7-Eleven ended up getting a tour of the ice factory because his ice sales were so high. So they end up getting this guy like a career achievement award in sales because like we have to buy all of your ice. But that means like the tub scene where he's just laying in bags of ice, like that's real. They didn't cut any corners there, which is crazy to me. Like you're going to have your star lay there in ice for however
Yeah.
long as you
Yeah.
get the shot as needed. So, I mean,
Well, he was
that's
probably used to it, I would imagine, with like, doing like, aftercare with all
Yeah,
of
that's a
his
good
action
point.
stuff and stunts. Like, I'm sure he's sat in ice baths before. But also, there's the scene with the gas station attendant where he's in the trunk and there's a trunk full of ice.
Yeah. Or when she opens the coffin at the airport and that dude is just
Yeah.
like sitting in a thing full of ice.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't cross my mind to like use real ice, but maybe
No.
like fake ice was way more expensive at that time. But now, yeah, I wouldn't know. But this film also did some really cool things in terms of like costume design and just design in general, because they had to make this look futuristic. They're telling a story that starts in Vietnam, but then is taking place in the 90s. But it's also a movie in the 90s that is like, hey, we're in the not too distant future. So, like, how do we make that look real? And so they spent a ton of money designing those two, like, I'm going to just call it a Cybertruck for lack of a better term,
Mhm.
like the mobile command unit. And they had to build one of these that had telescoping walls that could open up for those shots
Mhm.
where they're doing it. And then they had to have another one of those that could actually drive at like 60 to 80 miles an hour for when they're filming the chase scenes. So you had to build these two giant different clone trucks just to have these shots happen. And just like, I had recorded on Waterworld the other day, and just like looking back and thinking how dangerous and how crazy and how much of an investment in practical effects and production design. Waterworld was really sort of like one of the last like dinosaurs of that era before everything started to
Mhm.
switch over to CGI. But what that actually brings to a movie, and
Mhm.
we see it in their costume design too. They basically took like the Desert Storm outfit or the uniform for the army, and then just like changed it, made it like a little bit more sleek. They cut the sleeves off, obviously, so these guys who've been
Mhm.
working on their biceps for months in preparation for filming could have their biceps on display. But the sidearm that they used was like a silenced Desert Eagle with a laser sight, and this was like super impractical, but I guess like the right kind of people went to see this movie.
Mhm.
And I forget, it was one of some military contractor started developing the sidearm as like a primary weapon rather than a defense weapon. So they tried it with the Desert Eagle, and it's just like, that's a really heavy gun. That's like 5 pounds when
Yeah.
it's loaded. So they're like, okay, we got to move away from this. But I think they still adapted for SOCOM Navy SEALs, a HK like 45 suppressor with a laser on it that is like their standard sidearm for them now. Like,
Wow.
this
All
movie
right.
was able to inspire the design of like a new firearm style for military. So I mean, like, this is definitely like a military forward movie. I mean, it's in the name.
Right.
So
Right.
it's cool to see that at least it was like reciprocated in that way for them.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that's the end of all the bonus trivia right now, but that's probably, I'll give you the opportunity now before we jump into Critic Corner. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to cover yet?
Um, let's see. Uh a couple scenes. There the scene where they are hiding out in the gas station and he asks her to he like takes off his clothes and he's like, look for something hard. And she's like, okay. And she's like, like doing like the body search. And then he's like, oh, is that supposed to be there? And she goes, yes. And it's very, very normal. And then and then she finds it and he just like takes his knife and like stabs it right into his leg. And then I mean that was a pretty cool like, little effect. And then she just like grabs out the tracking device. I thought that was a pretty funny scene because you have the gas station attendant and all she's hearing is like, "Oh, you've been working out," and he's like, "Look for something hard."
Yeah, I think
I
I
thought
think
that
she
was
says to him like, "Can you at least keep your pants on this time?" Something like that.
yeah,
And he's
yeah,
like, "Hey, what are
yeah,
you guys doing in there?"
yeah. And then the diner scene is classic. I mean,
Fantastic. That's the part of the movie that like endeared me to the film, like
yeah.
beyond
Oh yeah,
everything else, because
yeah.
he's hungry. I just want to eat, and he's just eating everything on the menu and has no way to pay for it, and so he gets just hassled by the dudes in the bar, of course, because it's like, what the fuck, man? You come in here, you're gonna eat all our food, you have no money, and he's like a child to where like he doesn't understand currency. Like he understands that he's kind of alive, and I don't know, like the mental development of him as like a reincarnated person is a little lacking. And I think Allie, Veronica, the reporter, had gone to make a phone call at that time.
Yeah.
She just like left him alone, but she had to know that he didn't have any money. So like she put him in a bad spot, and then he has to beat the shit out of everybody at the restaurant. But he like hits one guy and then stops, takes a bite of his sandwich, and then beats up another guy. And it's like same thing with the popcorn. Like the way he's holding it and eating it is just like it's just very like childlike and like fairly authentic moment in the middle of this movie where you really just see that like he's kind of a pacifist. He doesn't want to be doing the things that he's doing. Like he just, I need fuel to like stay awake here. And like, all right, well, if you guys are going to attack me, like I really don't want to hurt you, but you don't really leave me much of a choice. Yeah, that scene's fantastic.
Well, I think this scene really shows Van Damme's acting chops because he really plays it off so well with, you know, kind of just being oblivious, and he never breaks character. You know, like the guy comes over, the cook, and he's like, I don't want to hurt you. And then him and the waitress start laughing. And he goes, oh, you don't want to hurt me. And then he like, you know, throws him against the table. And then I love scenes like this because, you know, each guy comes at him individually.
Yeah.
Like after he beats up like the first 2 or 3 guys, like wouldn't you think that he would like they like all decide to like come at him at once? But the best part is he's holding that sandwich in his hand while he like takes out like 2 or 3 guys, and it's just it's so classic.
It's great. And it's like he gives that first guy like severe head trauma when he slams his head into the table. Like he's not taking it easy on him. He could easily like kick him in the leg or kick him in the body or something and like hurt him, but he slams this dude's head into the table at full speed and really like injures this guy badly. And you would think at that point, yeah, we need to all sort of like usher him out of here together, all jump on him at one time. Let's not take him on one-on-one.
And this scene really is reminiscent of like a Jackie Chan scene because you know it's obviously full of comedy, and like the one scene where he like throws the guy on the pool table and then all the balls go in each pocket. It's like that's obviously not supposed to be serious, and I just thought that was just such a great scene. And then one of the other things that I absolutely love in this movie is Dolph is you know trying to fight like a bunch of guys. And he does this like triple kick where he like in one motion kicks 3 guys like as he's going across, and it like takes them all out. And it's just like it's so silly, but it's like played as it's like as serious, and it's just like, oh man, it's just so good. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we talked about most of the other stuff.
I will say one of my favorite things, like even thinking back on the movie, I was like, I had this thought and I was like, I don't know if it's accurate, but I want to watch it again and see. And like Dolph is a surgeon with the grenade. Like he should have had a backstory as like he was like an all-American college quarterback that blew out his knee and was forced to enlist in the military or something. Because every time he whips out a grenade, like his throwing accuracy is fantastic. And it's like there's someone running away from him, and I'm just trying to think like, okay, if I pulled the pin on a grenade, even if it has a delay, how do I time it perfectly that where it lands, it's going to explode and also hit this person running in stride? And he never misses. I mean, like he misses with the bus a couple times because like both the bus and the Cybertruck are like swinging back and forth, but he still like is pretty close to that damn bus while he's hanging out the side of the truck window. And the last one, sort of like when it's their final showdown, they're fighting outside Luke's country home in the rain, and Veronica decides to run off, and he's having the PTSD of the Vietnam moment where he did the exact same thing, and he takes the grenade off and he throws it, and you see the explosion near the truck, and it looks like he hit her, and then in slow motion he does this like turning fist bump in the rain, and I was like, this Dolph Lundgren right here is amazing. Like he's so into this character. I was like, I would have loved to see him just like cut loose and get to do this a lot more often.
Yeah. He normally plays like a very stoic type of very serious character. But yeah, he's pretty unhinged in this movie.
Yeah, and there's I think it's called Blackjack. Friend of mine who I just recorded with recently too, for the Death Machine episode, Keon, who I met through Instagram. He posted a video of, I think it's called Blackjack, where it's like Dolph Lundgren whips out like 3 playing cards and then slits a guy's throat with them while like spinning kicking somebody in the stomach. And
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
oh, I have to see this now. It sounds like
Yeah.
it's tailor made for me. But like, yeah, as we go into June-Claude Van Damme, I'm torn between like, do I pick something where I feel like this is a better vehicle where he gets to act and really like do something more than the classic stuff that we know him for, or do I
Right.
lean into the complete ridiculous silliness that I grew up with and that I still like really enjoy? So it's gonna come down to a coin toss.
Where do you put Bloodsport in that cat? Like, what category do you put Bloodsport in?
I mean, I feel like Bloodsport is sort of like the ascension phase of when not only did the action in the movies like sort of live up to kind of what you would expect from like a physical combat action movie, not something where there's explosions and guns. I think as an example of those types of movies, it's very good. And being in sort of like that early trajectory for him, you know, for me, I kind of always liked Kickboxer a little bit better than Bloodsport, but Bloodsport does have maybe like the moments that I enjoy a little bit better overall.
Mhm.
Like, but even that has the sort of like weird chase scene through the city where it's like, hey, we're doing this illegal kumite. And I don't know if you see, I'm sure
Mm.
you have, but the sort of Mentos commercial that's been made out of that scene, which is fucking hilarious. So if you
Yeah.
haven't
Oh
seen
yeah.
that, definitely check that out.
No, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to just put that up in the show notes for anybody that's interested because it's like it's a perfect Mentos commercial.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like I think Bloodsport is the one where it's like it's starting to really understand that Van Damme actually can be a pretty funny actor when he wants to be.
Yeah.
But that movie was still sort of on the tail end of like really adhering to a very particular style of like we have to go through these beats. You're gonna have to do the jumping, spinning foot slap kick at the end
Right.
to win.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like all of that setup is familiar, but yeah, Bloodsport's still so much fun. Like you can't really like
Yeah.
deny it. But yeah, he's training blindfolded. He does a splits and punches a guy in his nuts. Like, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Bloodsport is probably in my top 10 all-time most seen movies.
Oh,
I've probably
yeah.
seen that movie close to 100 times.
Wow.
Probably more than that, to be honest, because I was probably 10, 11, 12-ish when we were watching it. I could be a little off on that. Maybe it was 12. I don't know. Anyway, somewhere in that range. We would watch that movie and then go to my friend's house and basically replicate the Kumite, where we would each pick a character and we would literally do the scenes like part by part, like the squeeze, and like my brother would do like the monkey guy, and I'm not even kidding, like we probably had to have seen that movie easily 100 times, maybe even close to 200 times. There was one year where we watched it every single day for like an entire summer, and sometimes multiple times, because we would always try and find like kids who hadn't seen it before. So we were at that point, I probably could recite it like word for word. I mean, I can't now, but yeah, it's that'll always be, the movie that I always equate to his career. So
Understandably so. I think if I were like forced to put together like essential Van Damme, we're gonna narrow it down to like 10 movies to like define his career. I would probably take that one over Lionheart and Kickboxer.
yeah. Yeah.
I think it has to be in there when you're talking like discussion of his career at a glance. Like if Bloodsport's not in there, I think you sort of like miss the mark because you really do get to see not only his like ability as like a action star, like a physical combat action star, but also yeah,
Mhm.
you get to see like the sort of like the seeds of him being like actually a really like comedic, funny, charismatic guy. as well. And there's a lot of those moments, like they're playing like an arcade game at one point in there, where he sort of like has to smash the bottom brick, like so you get these like sort of iconic moments in that film as
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
And
yeah.
like you also get all of the different combat styles too, which is something that sort of was adapted by like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, all these video games that
Yeah.
would come down
Oh,
the
yeah.
line. So it definitely paved the way for stuff like that to exist. So I don't think you can have a conversation about Van Damme's career without including that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Cool. All right. Well, let's kick it over to Critics Corner. So now we can really see why people hated Universal Soldier.
Can't wait for these reviews. Sure, they're gonna be pretty bad.
There's a lot of red on the board. I'll just put it that way. But it has a overall Metascore of 35, and
Okay.
the lowest score on the board is a 20. There's two of those, and we get the New York Times and the Hollywood Reporter. So coast to coast, which one are you going to choose?
I'm gonna go a Hollywood Reporter.
Okay, so Hollywood Reporter has no name attached to it.
Of course.
It says it's a bad memory trip through the wasteland of movies past, swamped with bonehead dialogue, stock parts, cookie cutter romance, and gunked to the gills with generic techno drool.
Jeez. Wow. Okay.
I don't know what techno drool is, but
I don't either.
I think if you only watch the trailer, then yes. Like the trailer leans very heavily into like, oh, there's flashing numbers on screen. These guys are in like a blue chamber and there's gas shooting around them.
Yeah.
But like that's such a small part of the actual movie that I feel like it's not exactly appropriate for like a commentary on the entire film. I could see like, hey, the retreading of older movies, maybe you don't like the dialogue, but yeah, the stunt work is still great. I think the incorporation of the science is done at a minimum because I feel like they were pretty aware that like we can't pull this off as like a full sci-fi satire film, so we have to sort of incorporate that in small amounts, but
Right. Well, they probably didn't have the budget for it either.
exactly.
But if this budget was 2 to 3 times what it was, I'm sure it would have been a much, better movie, at least critical wise.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we've got, let's see, 225s on the board as well between the Miami Herald and the Portland Oregonian.
Wow, you tried to go as far apart as possible. Let's stick West Coast and do Portland Oregonian.
All right, this is Ted Mahar. He says, Universal Soldier is another Goonie banquet of violence composed almost entirely of leftovers. It's a Frankenstein monster of a movie with parts of a dozen or more films stitched and stapled together to make one lurching melodrama. I don't view this as a melodrama at all.
No, not at all.
I don't understand how anyone could watch this movie and be like, wow, that was melodramatic. I mean, like, yes, you have like this little tiny hints of like a romance that maybe shouldn't be there. But this guy is also pointing to the idea that like this movie sort of recycles tried and true action stuff from other movies. And in fairness, it does do those things, but it does those in a way that I don't feel is like necessarily trying to rip those other movies off, because I've seen those movies where like we're not doing this with any budget or any intention. And in this, it's like, no, let's go rebuild a gas station off Route 66 in the middle of the Arizona desert and then blow that thing the fuck up. Like, let's do that for real. So it comes from a place of like actioneering that I actually think is genuine versus, hey, let's make a quick cash grab Terminator knockoff, which it might have been that a little bit. Like, let's get a foreign director to come in and step in and do this. But at the same time, like, I think there's a lot more substance there than this guy is letting on.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I do see, I mean, obviously there's a lot of connections to T2, right? But
yeah.
And even with the female character, I definitely, not that she's like Linda Hamilton or anything, but she's definitely not like a damsel in distress.
Correct.
I mean, look at the end of the movie. Like she, takes out the cop and she's like, I had big brothers or something like that. But like, she's definitely like a strong female lead, which I think in 1992 was probably not like a common occurrence. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I mean, these are the people that hated the movie the most, but we'll climb the board a little bit. We've got, let's see, we've got a pair of 30s, but I'm going to jump over those because you're all in the same territory. I'm going to jump to a 33, and this is Owen Gleiberman from Entertainment Weekly, who I've read several times on the show. That viewers primed for a post-apocalyptic blowout will be disappointed to learn the Universal Soldier is set in the boring old present day. And that until the climactic clash, the film is slow moving and short on firepower. I guess he missed like the hotel shootout and the gigantic fireball explosion in the middle of the desert. I don't think it's short on firepower at all.
I don't think so, even slightly. There's tons of scenes where, I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Yeah, I also don't understand Nick saying this movie's boring. I don't think it's boring at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I guess I don't understand from Gleiberman where he's like viewers primed for a post-apocalyptic blowout. Like, we watched the trailer. Where would you be getting primed for a post-apocalyptic blowout at all? This isn't set in the distant future.
Right. It's not Mad Max. Like, Sometimes I really wonder if these critics even watch these movies. Do they just watch like a short reel or like a sizzle reel or something, and then kind of just make their opinion? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair question to ask because I don't see anywhere in the marketing where I sort of saw it as far enough in the future where it'd be considered like post-apocalypse, or even like on the sort of downswing of like a societal fall, right? Where, hey, society is in the process of collapsing, and then we need super soldiers to maintain order in the streets. Like, that's not even how this movie is presented. So it just seems like he's starting from a place of like, well, if you were expecting the thing that I was, then you're going to be disappointed. But like, why were you expecting that thing?
Yeah,
don't expect anything, and you won't be disappointed.
Well, there's nothing to even hint at that. I mean, it's okay.
Isn't.
So it's 25 years after Vietnam War. So
correct.
How is that? No.
Okay, so yeah, it's set in 1994, but it was made in 1992. Like, exactly.
Oh,
like,
God. Yeah.
So to me, it's very clearly a sci-fi film that only wants to point to like the distant future, to like let us know that everything's basically the same, but a little things are changing here and there. And the more they change, the scarier it'll get. So, like, yeah, this to me doesn't ever speak like, hey, this is a Terminator Wasteland type of movie, which could be pretty interesting, but that's not what this movie was trying to do at all.
Also, these are like secret soldiers. People don't even know what's happening.
Correct.
It's not like it's like, like Demolition Man, where, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's like these like police who are, watching what you do and what you say, and I don't know. That seems very, very, very far out of left field.
Yeah, sorry, Glebes. Okay, so we've got 250s, but I always defer to Raj when he's available. So we got Ebert on the board. Chicago Sun-Times gave it a 50, second highest score on the board. He said, I suppose there is a market for this sort of thing among bubble-brained adolescents of all ages. Thank you. Thank you, Raj. That was me. But it takes a good chase scene indeed to rouse me from the lethargy induced by dozens of essentially similar sequences. Okay, so it's like, hey, he understands that the target audience for this movie is definitely skewing younger, which it is. Right. It's kind of simplistic in the way that it approaches that. And it's interesting to think that the chase scene was the thing that really like he latched onto. Because, like, yeah, it's just they're driving in a straight line in the middle of the desert. Like, yeah, there's some explosions and, like, you get all the practical stunt work there. But I wouldn't say, for me, that's the most interesting part of the movie. But I'm glad he at least gave it credit, because it seems like him and Nix are on the same page where the bus scene is the scene of the movie.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I feel like if you can't have fun when you're watching these types of movies, then you shouldn't watch them. Like, they're not for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on Felicia's podcast and talked about, some of my favorite movies of all time. And, I gave Universal Soldier 4 stars on Letterboxd. Do I think this is in the same vein as like Winter Light or you know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
it's fun and it's entertaining and like don't take yourself so seriously and be like this like pretentious, movie snob. Like if you can't have fun, then stick to Bergman and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
don't watch these kind of movies. I don't know. It seems like some of these critics go in not wanting to like the movie before they even started.
Yeah, and I think that is the case probably a lot of the time, and especially like having just like watched the Waterworld documentary in prep for that episode, like
Mhm.
listening to the production side of things talk about like their relationship with the press was like
Mm.
a nightmare because all
Yeah.
anyone ever remembers is that like the movie was over budget and that
Right.
it's the most expensive film ever made and it's a flop and all this, and it was like all this was created out of negative press because they didn't
Mhm.
want the press on set because the press had already leaked negative stuff about the film. They're like, well, why do we want you on set then? Get the hell out of
Right.
here. So,
Right.
and then it was
Yeah.
like, all right, now they've banned us from the set, so we're going to be even meaner to it, and just gave it a bad reputation, much worse than it deserved. But 2 out of 4 on Ebert's scale is not that bad. He's been more
No.
complimentary than a lot of other critics, and that's fair for like the most prestigious critic probably on the list, besides maybe Janet Maslin, who we didn't read. For him to sort of just acknowledge that it's not for me, but there is an audience for it,
Right.
and
Yeah.
the stunt work is good. Like I'll take
Yeah.
that from Raj, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
What's the highest score?
we're gonna close it out with a 60 from the Washington Post.
Okay.
This is Desson Thompson. By its own deliriously rock bottom standards, Universal ain't half bad. Of course, you have to be big on bloody slaughter, kickboxing, infrared gunning, and impaired acting, but Universal executes its subtle free mission with surprisingly watchable efficiency. Okay, so I mean,
Yeah. I mean, that's
I'll
not
take
terrible.
it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, gave it the highest score on the board. So thanks, Desson. You win this round of our favorite critic. But I want to ask you now that you watched it a couple of times in prep for this, do you still feel like this is a more fun movie than Terminator 2?
I feel like I'm never gonna live that down. Oh god, more fun. I mean, yeah, I still do because
No.
I do because Van Damme is just so charismatic, and he, there's like one scene where when he faints, the face that he makes when he faints is so good. And it's like
When
he
he
doesn't
passes
say a
out
word.
naked.
He just makes this like face like he's like, getting woozy and then he passes out. And he does another scene where he does something similar where he like makes this face and it's like, he clearly doesn't take himself seriously and he's having a lot of fun. Dolph is clearly having a blast.
Oh yeah.
And, I don't think this movie takes itself very seriously. And so let's put it this way, if I'm sitting down to watch a movie with a group of friends who have never seen either movie, which would be almost impossible. But if it was, I would pick this over Terminator because I feel like you're going to get more laughs, you're going to get more banter, it's going to be a funner experience.
Yeah, I
I
can see
still
that.
think I stick to the to the wildly hyperbolic statement.
Well, it's like T2, like the entire tone of it is different. Like there's very few moments in Terminator 2 that are like, hey, we're actually trying to be sort of comic forward, right? And some of those got cut out of the movie in order to maintain a much more serious
Yeah.
sci-fi tone throughout the whole
Yeah.
thing. So it's definitely different approaches. And if like you were to just strip it down to like just the action sequences and like which action sequences are more fun, I would say Terminator 2 has the edge there. But including Van
Clearly.
Damme's
Yeah.
personality and some of like the goofy, irreverent nature of this movie, I could see it, having a 4-star fun experience for sure.
Yeah. I'm in no way saying that this is a better movie than Terminator 2. Obviously, the action is way better in Terminator 2. But again, there's bigger budget. There's, it was better technology. I mean, the whole scene with the the prison bars and stuff, like that was all like stuff that had never been used before.
Yeah, groundbreaking stuff at the time.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like to put these two on the same level as far as special effects, action scenes, like clearly they're not in the same realm, but I'm not a huge action star person, action movie person. So like for me, I would probably lean towards the goofier kind of not take itself so seriously kind of stuff. I mean, obviously I love Jackie Chan. I think he's the greatest action star that's ever lived. And his comic ability is, basically outside of like, Chaplin and Buster Keaton and, Harold Lloyd, he's really unmatched. Like there's nobody in modern day that's even close to him. So I definitely would probably lean towards, because I'm a huge Buster Keaton fan, and, he did all of his own stunts, which if you watch Buster Keaton movies is pretty impressive. Some of the stuff that he did, like he could have easily died like many, many times. So, I definitely lean towards the humor side of the action genre. So the bad movies that are, good are more in my wheelhouse than, the big Marvel movies or stuff like that. My favorite Marvel movies are Guardians of the Galaxy, which are the funniest ones. So like that's more my wheelhouse. So
yeah, that makes total sense. Well, we close out Critics Corner at least on a reasonably high note.
Yeah.
I did want to circle back to one thing about just the end of the movie, in that like we get Dolph, who's just like jacked up on super steroids at this point. He's completely in full-on PTSD psycho mode. He's hunted Luke down to his house, and then he's beating the shit out of him. He throws him like 30 feet through a barn door, and then Van Damme gets his hands on the serum, juices himself up with some serum, and all of a sudden it's like, wouldn't they just be like of equal strength at that point because they're both on the steroids? Or is it like it has a diminishing return the longer it's in your system? So he's freshly juiced up, and now when he kicks, it's harder. So like I feel like the ending conflict between the two of them seemed to be a little anticlimactic, but you needed the opportunity for him to throw a bunch of kicks.
Yeah, well, so I guess I could take the devil's advocate side and say that even if they were on equal level, I think Van Damme's character has more to lose. He's protecting his parents. He's mad about the girl. So like, let's say they're on equal footing. I think with what he has to like, what he's fighting for is a lot more than what Dolph is fighting for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he has to dig a little bit deeper there and just my whole family's at stake.
Yeah,
because I was just watching like the end like action of it, and he gets him lined up and he's just like spamming kicks at him for like a good 30-40 seconds, and I was like, I would have really loved to see the fight sequence be like a little bit more evenly matched there at the end. But I get it, like, Dolph is whooping his ass pretty badly there for a while when he's got the super serum alone, and so you need the tables to turn a little bit and go the other direction. So I totally get that, but I was like, what, this could have been like a really great finish to this movie if it came down to just like who's actually a better fighter, not just who's more juiced up on super steroids at the right time.
Well, and I think Van Damme, even like in a realistic sense, is probably a much better fighter than Dolph, I would imagine.
I don't know. Dolph is like a Kyokushin black belt, like
really?
high degree. Yeah, he's
wow.
I think he was 1981 and 82, or maybe 83, but two-time European Kyokushin karate champion as well. So
wow, okay.
Yeah, I think Dolph might whoop his ass because he's got the reach advantage too. But
yeah, well, yeah, he definitely has that for sure. Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I would have loved to see him be able to actually like utilize his martial arts skill set, where it's like really he's just kind of like headbutting and throwing him around. Like if they were to actually like exchange techniques, I think we actually have like two
Oh.
great actors that would be able to accomplish that, but
Yeah.
we didn't quite get that. But you know what?
Yeah.
That's okay. I still enjoyed the movie just fine.
Yeah.
Your discharge, Sarge. That's what we close it out with in this movie.
It's a pretty great line.
It is. I mean, it's like about as zingy of a one-liner as you could possibly have in that moment. So it's
Yeah.
perfect. I'm gonna ask you right now too. What is a good gateway drug kind of movie for Universal Soldier?
Interesting. Well, I like. I mean, they're not the same, but I if I was doing a double header, like double feature, I like this with Demolition Man. I don't know. They're not thematically they're not the same, but I don't know. I think it's a fun companion piece.
And I think they actually do tread some similar territory in that, like, look, Stallone gets like frozen solid. He's a cop, gets frozen solid, is then thawed out to go back on duty, right?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And they're
That's
like,
true.
hey, you're perfectly fine. It's like, no,
Right.
that was a living nightmare entire time that I was frozen.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Yeah.
he wakes up with PTSD as well.
That's true. That's
You've got
true.
Wesley like juiced up on all the tech that was put into his head. So it's like he's got super soldier shit going on for him.
Yeah.
So I think they're a little bit more similar. Plus, like the entire just like kind of irreverent tone, I think, for them.
Yeah.
They're a
Yeah.
little bit even keel there. Yeah, I think that's
I
a
think
good pick.
although I think Demolition Man is funnier.
It is, yeah. I think it's more designed to be funnier too, because like
Right,
Sandra
right,
Bullock and Benjamin Bratt's character,
Oh my god.
designed. I mean, Rob Schneider's in the movie for Christ's sake. Like,
Yeah.
it's a comedy. No.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good action movie too, though.
It is exactly.
Yeah, it is like. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's what I would pair it with, personally.
Yeah, I think the one that I probably would go with, I'm going to keep it in the Van Damme universe because it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. So I'm going to say Double Impact, which was the one that came out right before Universal Soldier, where Van Damme also plays his long lost twin. So it's a double role for him. And it's exactly as crazy as it sounds. So that I think that's a good one where it's like you get Van Damme as like the action star. You also get him sort of showing off like his comedic abilities, and it's not overly serious. So I think that's a good kind of if you like Universal Soldier, check that one out, or vice versa.
Well, and if you're watching Double Impact, the Jackie Chan, what's the Jackie Chan movie where he plays
Twin Dragon?
Dragon.
That's way better, obviously, but I mean, Jackie.
Well, yeah.
Such a good vehicle for him
Oh
to
my
really
God.
show his comedic acting ability. I mean, there's the whole fight scene where it's like, I think they're, for some reason, like their brains are not working correctly. Like, he gets hit in the head. And then the guy that knows how to play piano has to fight, but Jackie is like piloting him from the other room. So he has to like punch the air. Like, that scene is amazing.
Yeah,
It's so
hysterical.
smart and so well handled. I mean,
Well,
it really
the
a
hot tub
testament to
scene.
Jackie.
The hot tub scene to me is my favorite scene. That scene is so funny.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have. We're doing a kung fu month. Maybe I'll just do a Jackie Chan month because I mean he's got like 100-something movies. We definitely have a lot to choose from.
I would love to be on that month because I obviously love Jackie Chan. So
Yeah, me too. I mean, like of all the action stars, it's like I don't know if I like gravitated towards him the most, but I really loved his stuff, and I was so happy for him to like have success with Rush Hour that translated. And The Foreigner is really good too. When if you just want to see him like do some actual like serious acting and
it's
some
great.
fighting, yeah, Foreigner is fantastic.
I was shocked. I was actually shocked how good it was.
Yeah, and I was like, you actually get to see Jackie like kind of use a gun. It's like not really in it that much, but it's like, yeah, it's actually like kind of takes the idea of a firearm in his world of action and makes it tangible in a way that a lot of his other movies are just like, oh, for some reason, like he runs away from the guns, and then when it comes time to fight, there's no guns.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great one. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show, man. Do you wanna plug the Cinema Shit Show one more time before you get out of here? What do you guys have coming up? What was the most recent episode? Is that the one with the hepatitis?
Yeah. So right now we're doing Manicotti Mayhem.
Is that a cheese?
Well, we were trying to come up with an Italian name for a May themed Italian horror month. So Manicotti Mayhem. I am a sucker for alliteration. So
Me too.
anytime I get a chance to use it, I'm going to. So Manicotti Mayhem, kind of fits Italian horror, I think, perfectly because it's cheesy and it's chaos. So it's mayhem, like it's a perfect title, I think, for so we're doing we did Burial Ground, which is an Italian zombie movie.
I think that's the
We
last
just
one
did
that I heard.
we just did Inferno, and we just recorded yesterday. We did City of the Living Dead, which is awesome zombie movie. So if you haven't checked out the podcast yet and you like Italian horror, now is a good entry point to get into the shit show.
It's a great time to jump on. How many episodes are you in now? 20 something? 30 something?
I think we're in the 30s now. I don't really count or keep track of numbers. I'm not
the numbers guy.
I'm not the numbers guy. Nix will be like, "This is our most listened to episode." And I'm like, "Cool, that's awesome." Like, I don't do it for that. I just enjoy spending time with my buddy and talking about, insane movies with two insaniacs. So it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I recommend it. Maybe, disclaimer here and there. Like you're gonna hear some stuff. It's called the Cinema
Okay,
Shit Show
yes,
for a reason.
okay. I probably should preface that. Yes, I don't tell my personal friends about this podcast very often because I definitely have said some, let's say, controversial things on there. Nothing too
Unsavory.
offensive. Nothing too offensive. I haven't. Although Nix will say that I've offended entire races of people, but not intentionally.
Entire countries.
Yeah, he's harping on this whole thing that I'm like anti-Italian women. It's like I don't know where he gets that from. I was literally married to somebody who was half Italian, so I'm not anti-Italian women. Just I'm gonna state that without him being able to like chime in. I'm very pro Italian women. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. So if you want to check it out, we're on everywhere you can get podcasts, and we're on Twitter. Everything's the same. Cinema Shit Show. Twitter, Blue Sky. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Facebook, but
Threads.
I'm not on Facebook, so maybe.
I
don't know. Nix does all that stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just there
he's got
for
the roots
the
planted
good.
better than me.
Yeah, I'm just there for the good looks and the comedic timing. Anyways, well, thanks for having me on, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad I got to start Jean-Claude Van Damme with you and with this movie in particular, because it's always been one that's, been a favorite of mine for many, many years. So I'm glad you finally got to see it at least last year. Well, maybe last year at this point, maybe beginning of this year. I don't know. Time is a construct.
Well, and also I didn't even know, you didn't tell me that you were doing a Jean-Claude Van Damme month. And so I'm really happy that you reached out to me because obviously I'm a big fan of his. So this is a cool chance for me to like talk about him and hype him up a little bit. He's a little hype man.
Yeah. I think I had asked like, hey, would you want to like do this for the show? Or I said like save it at some point for the future.
Yeah.
And then since I decided to actually like push that agenda for the film club and be like, we're actually going to do this, I was like, you know what? Let me actually like use synergy to my advantage for a change, do some vertical integration, and then have some crossover with the show that I run and the film club that I run. So
yeah.
I mean, awesome. Van Damme's got so many movies to choose from. We'll get to covering some good stuff, but I'm gonna do Time Cop as well, that I know for sure. I had to reschedule with Movie Miss because she's still sick. I'm gonna do Hard Target with Nix, who was here earlier, who has been on this show several times. I'm sure you know Nix if you listen to this show. And then I think I had Street Fighter lined up, but I need to lock that down, or I need to move on and make sure that I get something else scheduled to close out the month. But yeah, it's going to be a bunch of silly, goofy fun just like this. So I hope that if you enjoyed this and if you enjoy Van Damme in general, that you tune in to all the rest of the episodes and make sure you check out Cinema Shit Show. Ben and Nick's are good people. And if you follow me on social media, you'll see that I retweet their stuff. So you'll have access.
One last thing, just because if you do have one of your weeks fall through, I could probably convince my brother Adam to come on and do a joint Bloodsport episode.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah,
we could talk about the Vargas Kumite.
Yes, that sounds like fun.
It is a real thing. So, or if you want to squeeze in a 5th episode for the month, you could.
Maybe bonus content, because it's maybe like it's too good for this show, but I mean, it does kind of feel like it belongs here. So
it does belong there, whether critically it isn't. It should.
It definitely. So. Cool.
All right, man.
I will keep that in mind. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Of course, you too. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Where is stop recording? There we go.
Many thanks to Ben, not just for coming on the show and helping me with a project and giving me an excuse to indulge Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, but also for his continued support of this show. It is much appreciated, Ben. If you enjoyed our conversation, make sure to check out the Cinema Shit Show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find them on Twitter and all the other socials at Cinema Shit Show. And I will put all of that stuff up in the show notes for you. And of course, thank you to everyone who took the time to listen to this episode. I know you have a lot of choices when it comes to podcasts, and I appreciate you spending your time with us. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you do, please consider leaving a rating on your podcast platform of choice and telling a friend about it. And the support page is now live over at ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/badmovieswelove. I'd love to hear from you, so if you have a bad movie you love or would like to be a guest on the show, you can contact me at badmovieswelove@theshice.com or at badmovieswelove on Twitter and Instagram, and that's love with an LUV on the socials. And until next time, take care, be well, and have fun however you get your movies.